All right, little post-edit thought here. This is after it's all said and done. It works great. I never went into depth on how to actually wire the stereo up to the car. I kind of just showed it done. I didn't really do much of a tutorial part on that. Didn't do much of a tutorial the whole video. So this is kind of just showing of like how to get there, but I don't show you what to do in every step. So if you want a more in-depth video on that, just comment down below. Obviously I'm using a Kenwood stereo, so I have a Kenwood book here for a different stereo actually, but it's all the same. Kenwood's pretty standard. Yeah, the important wires are all the same. Your speaker wire colors are the same. The locations are the same. Your red, yellow, and black do the same thing on 90% of Kenwood stereos. So if you have a Kenwood wiring diagram like this, then you can wire up a Kenwood stereo to pretty much anything as long as you know what the car diagram is. So just letting you know, if you want a more in-depth video on actually wiring up the stereo itself, let me know. Alrighty. Bought myself another Cavalier. This one's 2 years newer than the last one. My last one was 2003. This is a 2005. Little 2.2, like every Cavalier ever. And a 5-speed, which is cool. So it made it a whole week. Not running any worse than when I bought it. So I'm going to put a stereo in it. Battery disconnected. I'm going to start with taking the door panels off. I'm going to take them both off. Phillips head screwdriver. There's screws all the way around the edge of the door. Right here where there would normally be an adjuster. There's 2 screws down in here. This right here you need a tool for, which I will show you. This tool right here, you can probably buy it over O'Reilly's or Walmart or something, but it actually works really nice. It slides back in here and then pushes the clippy that holds the crank on. I'm going to pop these off. You just got to push it back in there and shove the clip off, and then I'll pick it back up. Okay, took me a lot longer than I wanted it to, and it can be a pain in the butt. This little clippy thing is what you need. Don't lose those, because it'd probably be impossible to buy one. So I'm just going to put it in the seat, because that seems safer than my pocket. That should come right off. So now I'm going to move on to the screws. Take the screws out all the way around. You'll get it loose like this, and then it'll come up off of this. Just like that. There you go. You got a door panel off. Little stick. I'm going to take these out here, which in this car is a Phillips. Working through the camera here. This screw is different, so I would try to keep it with the defroster just so that it ends up in the same place. All of the door panel ones are all the exact same, so it really does not matter where they go. Besides that one is different. This should come out now with some force, about like that. So then here, there's some Torx. I remember these from the other car. So those here, might be a couple back here. Are there? No. So those 2, and that should loosen the top edge of the dash. I believe all of this through here is pops, and then I think there's 2 in here. Back out, and got, I don't know if I even went through this. I think my phone died right before I started working on the dash. So I took that screw out there. There's 2 screws under here. I think that was it. Then I just pop stuff loose. You just pull, pop, pop. You know, I got some of them popped up. And then as I took apart, it tore it. You know what I mean? It snapped it. So that's just how it is now. I'm not really worried about it. The vents still have their little sockets on them, so I'll stick those right back on. I just wire nutted everything. You can butt connect it if you want, but I'm assuming I'm going to have to mess with stuff later, and I'm planning on changing some things around. So I'll just have it all wire nutted together here. The wire diagram I will pop up. It does not point out a trigger wire. on this harness, and this is the base model harness, so it's like, you know, as low as it gets. This one little purple wire in here that comes off of the factory harness on the diagram says that it is a data link connector. I'm guessing for the computer. Maybe the radio in this car factory is computer controlled. Maybe that's what tells it to turn on whenever you turn the key on, but I doubt that. That would be weird. Just have it. There was 2 grounds on the factory harness. I grounded all my grounds to both grounds because it doesn't matter. It's got all the ground it wants. And since there wasn't a trigger wire in this car, that was obvious. I mean, the only wire that I have is that one, and it doesn't seem to turn the radio on. So I wired in my power for my radio and my memory for my radio to this orange wire, which is the hot wire coming straight off the battery. You know, that's always hot. That orange wire is the factory wire. That's always hot. So now, whenever you get in the car, you start it, whatever, you have to hit the button on the stereo. Now, I just have to remember whenever I get out, I got to hold the button down and shut the stereo off so I don't run my battery down. It might be a little bit too dark for you guys to see here, but I'm going to take my front door speakers out now. I'm going to do those really fast. Just going to take this connector off here because this is a factory part of harness here. I'm just going to cut the speaker wires there and then jumper with my own speaker wire to the actual speaker connection itself in the back there. So kind of going around some things here just because I don't want to mess with trying to make that work again. So I'm going to get rid of all this, put my new speakers in, which they're right here. And those come with brackets. These come with those brackets there. So they will pretty much fit anything. And I know from my last Cavalier that those do bolt right up. So we should be good there. We're going to do that real fast. And yeah. Here's another pro tip. Make sure before you start your project for the night that you have more than just one female flat crimp fitting, because that is the only one I have. And so that means I can't even wire up one speaker. So now I have to run to my dad's, drive the truck, run to my dad's, and grab my other little box of electrical goodies. Alright guys, I've finished the front speakers. They're in there and wired up. So now I'm sitting in the back here. That little rivet there's missing, but it looks just like that. And that one's broken, so that's great. There's pop pins in here behind the carpet in the trunk, and then these little slides here. So kind of goes around the hinge and sideways like that. Yep. Once you get it broke loose back here and right there, get it around that lock and it'll fall right down just like that. So I'm gonna fight that. I got it in both hands. So that's what it looks like in there where the speakers were. I got ahead of myself, took them out and cut the wires already, but the speakers just sit in little slots here. And then I'm assuming that they're mostly held down by this, kind of pressing against the rim of them. I really don't know why they did it like this. And then I got ahead of myself. You just push this little, and it's not very tight. The clip just comes right out. You push it and pick up, and then you just pick the whole speaker up and it comes out of there. So just take a moment to recognize how awesome Blaupunkt makes their speakers. This is a 700 watt 6x9. It's 4-way. Is that Blaupunkt doesn't make these anymore. So you cannot buy another GTX 691. Alright, this is filmed on Snapchat just because my normal camera won't let me play music while I'm filming. I can't hook my sub up because I don't have the extra post for the battery yet. So I'm gonna get that Friday and then we'll have subs. But so I'm happy with it. That is putting in the stereo in the old Cavalier, dude. Alrighty guys, so I'm in town now. It's what, 2 in the morning probably, but came in town to get a little bit of fuel and I got myself a hot dog. So the thing that happened was I didn't have dash lights whenever I took off and turned my lights on. I didn't have dash lights. So the other gray wire, you know how we had 2 of them earlier when we were doing the stereo, I had both of them just put into the speaker, trying to, you know, make the speaker work. But then I realized I don't have lights if I do that. So I found the correct wire, which it's next to impossible to just know which one because they're both the exact same color. Those 2 gray wires right there are the same color, but they have 2 different functions. So the one that's in this butt connector connected to the remote wire. The remote wire is an output from the radio saying, hey, I'm on. And I just have it connected there. I was messing around and I found out that turns your dash lights on. So now the dash lights work just like they normally do with the switch over here, but I also still have my speaker. The only thing I have noticed is if my radio is off, I don't have dash lights. If my radio turns on, I now have dash lights. You can't really tell in the camera, but I have dash lights now. But either way, whenever I turn my headlights off, my dash lights turn off, just like they normally would. So that's what I would do if you're trying to put an aftermarket stereo in a Cavalier. Has a similar wiring harness. Just tie one of your remote wires coming from your radio to that. Yeah, that's about it. So there you go. I think that's it.